So one thing,
All right, guys, let's go.
okay, let's just not, I don't like cell phones to go off when Frank Finelli's talking, so. But anyways, so let's talk about, what was
I'm
I
giving him a referral.
You're lucky. Okay. Well, there's my stuff. Okay, great. You know, it's an age thing. You can never remember where you put anything. I don't Google. I just ask my wife. She knows everything. But anyway, she doesn't like that joke. What can I say? So, okay. 1, 2, 3.
You're late. And definitely that is a fast.
It's her fault.
Why, were you waiting in the car?
Totally. With the engine running.
Okay. So what I want to start off with today, who was here for Joe last week? Great. Okay. So Joe is the consummate master salesperson. Would you all agree? He's phenomenal. Right? He took car dealerships from 65% customer service rating to 100% over a course of 3 years. He improved it. So some of the things that Joe said from last time was common ground, right? You want to find some common ground between you and the suspect. What's a suspect? Someone hasn't done anything yet, but could have, right? So anyway, we want to find common ground with a suspect, turn him into a prospect, and then turn him into a client, and then turn him into a past client. Is that what we want to do? Say yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Tough crowd. I'm now I know it. I get it. Okay. Secondly, he said you're your own company. Who believes in that? Who believes you're your own company? Great. So in other words, you're your own boss, right? Okay. So he also said know your product. What did he say about knowing your product when he first moved here? What did he say? Anybody want to stab at it? What did he do? What was his strategy? Well, go ahead, Linda.
His strategy was that, for instance, when he was doing open house, he would learn everything about that neighborhood and what was on the market and so forth, the schools and so forth. So when someone would come into the open house, he was able to tell them about what, if this house didn't fit their needs,
Right.
he might be able to help them with another house in the neighborhood because he knew the product.
Right. And so he also, as an add-on to that, he also caravaned 4 times a week, right? Because he wanted to get to know where the houses were, he got to know the territory, and he didn't have to drive anywhere, so it saved a bit of gas, because remember, he didn't have any money, right? The other thing is, he said invest in yourself. How many people are taking classes, additional classes, other than we're out in the field just learning a little bit? Who's taking, what are you taking?
Well, we went to Tom Ferry a month ago.
Fantastic, that's the answer, that's a good answer, right? And anybody's good. Who's doing the Brian Buffini thing with, very good. Okay, so that's investing in yourself, really important. I think the other thing is that he said, which is also a very important point to me, is be there, right? Just be there. And be there on time, right? Because if you're not there on time, what are you? You're late. Okay, perfect, we got that down pat. Okay, so we have some questions. Does anybody have any questions before I start? I guess I started, but anybody have any questions? Sorry. My wife will tell you I'm not the smartest cat in the woodpile, for sure. So I want to tell you what an ultimate failure is standing in front of you today, okay? I never made it out of high school. I was going to bring my grade 9 diploma just to show you I graduated from something, okay? And I do have one, right, sweet? I showed it to her. It's got dust on it, but I do have one. I never graduated from community college. I never graduated from university, but I went to them all. And that was because I was being there, right? I thought, hey, this is a really cool thing to do, just to be there. So I guess the point of that is, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I started my career 43 years ago. I was #1 on the Vancouver Real Estate Board one time, and that was when we had the Great Recession in the early 80s, and I sold 5% of all the homes that sold on the Vancouver Real Estate Board in the month of August of that year. 5%. There's 5,800 agents on the Vancouver Real Estate Board, and how could one guy sell 5%? Well, It was easy because there was only 85 sold and I sold 17 of them, right? So what separated me from everybody else? A high school dropout, a guy who couldn't make it through community college, a guy who had to take home ec at university just to stay there, right? I mean, I was a solid D+ student, Jenny will tell you. Okay, she 4.0 and 2 masters at the same time at ASU. But, and people go, if your wife is so smart, why'd she marry you? I go, it's simple. They said, well, what do you mean it's simple? I go, I'm a good salesperson. Right?
I thought it was the good looks.
No, it's not. It used to be though. I gotta tell you, at one time I was a pretty good looking guy. So now that we got all that baloney out of the way, I got somewhere here. But who wants to ask me a question before I get started with the questions? Go ahead, Joe. Joe's not here. Thank you, Joe. He has to ask tough questions. Okay. All right. So who wants, Frank, you want to ask me a question? Go ahead.
Well, I'll ask you a question, and
I have an answer for it, but
why do you feel like?
Okay, you guys. 1, 2, 3.
You're
late. You guys are really good at this. I think you're all natural for script practice. Go ahead, Frank.
So when you say you're in it, I want to ask you, why do you think it's important to have an office?
Uh-oh. One more. You ready? 1, 2, 3. You're late.
I know it.
Okay, you didn't. I'm not listening to you late. But anyway, so go ahead, Frank.
So when you say that you're in it, why do you think? What do you
Who's going to
think?
give their chair to the lady up? You guys going to do that?
It's my fault I'm late, I don't deserve a chair.
Up here, sit up here. You got a gentleman give you a chair.
Thanks,
Very
Matt.
nice, eh? Let's give him a hand. Okay. All right, so go ahead.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt.
So when you say you're in it, why do you think it's important to have a place of business, an office? Why do you have an office rather than the outside?
That's a good question. I'll come right back to it and I'll tell you why. And some of the people in this room understand that I was a little upset with Remax, okay? And I was going to leave Remax, okay? And then it dawned on me that I'm not unhappy with Remax Fine Properties. I'm just unhappy with the way Remax International is doing things. And I thought, that doesn't affect my business, right? Why should I bother being upset at that? It just takes me off my game, right? And why should I not think about how great Dell is? Why should I not be thinking about how great Jamie Shirts is? Why should I not be thinking how great Sandy is? Why should I not be thinking about how great the support team at Remax Fine Properties is? Does anybody not agree with me? Say yes.
Yes.
Good, that's the right answer. You're not supposed to say anything to that one. But do we not all agree that we're probably the best franchise location under the people that we've got running the company, and Greg and Matthew, who signs the checks, and Emily? Aren't we lucky to be there?
Yes.
So it's be there, right? So that's why I'm there. I stayed because it's the best place for me to be. Why do I have an office there? I don't know. I walked in, they said, this is your office. So I said, okay, I guess I have it. That's the answer. So,
I got a question for you.
you do.
Yeah, I do. Where would you say your number one source of return on investments coming from?
Ask my wife. She handles the money. IRS came in and did an audit on us a few years ago. So the accountant calls us up and says, hey, I got some good news. So what's the good news? And bad news. I said, well, give me the bad news. He said, well, the bad news is you're getting an audit on your personal and your business for 2 years. The good news is you got a rookie. And he calls back a few days later. What does he say? I got some really bad news. They're bringing the area supervisor and they want to do a site visit. Great. So they come in and offer him water and coffee. Of course, they can't take anything, right? So I says to them, they start asking questions. They got this big long thing, right, sweet? They're going through the questions and they're looking at me asking the questions. And I go, okay, just a second now. Let me just explain to you how this whole thing works. And they go, how does it work? And I said, well, I'm in charge of the money getting. My wife is in charge of the money keeping, and our tax accountant makes sure that we pay our fair share of taxes, because that's our patriotic duty. That's our duty as citizens of the United States of America. Guess what? They didn't ask me another question. It's perfect, right? So what I'm saying to you is you got to anticipate, and I talked to this morning earlier at a meeting with a fellow who won the Graph Award, and that is like the Oscar for the #1 club golf manager in America. I mean, think about how many there are. And I said to him, and his wife owned a real estate company, she sold it high of the market, God bless her. But I said, what do you think is some of the most important things to be successful in life? What separates a PGA Tour player from someone who plays on the web or even the Florida Tour or the Canadian Tour? He said, you know, it's all about preparation, right? Preparation, mental ability. Mental ability to get the job done. So I had a turning point about a month ago. So I go up to the sales training event in Las Vegas. It doesn't matter who you have as a mentor. Joe talked about that too, right? Get a mentor. I believe in paying for it. Because if I'm going to pay for it, I'm going to do it. How many people got stuff for free that they went to hear somebody for free, like me, and you never do anything you learn, right? Happens all the time. So Jenny says, listen now, okay, we got to look at our expenses, and the first thing that's going is your coach. $650 a month, he's cut out. I said, well, geez, I'm going to go next week to see him. He says, well, you got to tell him he's fired. So I walk up to my coach, he was a colonel in the Army, and I said, hey, got some bad news. He said, what's the bad news? My wife said you're fired. He says, but I don't know your wife. I go, well, if you knew my wife, you'd understand where this is coming from. But I said, I want to keep you, right? And my wife thinks that because I'm not listening to what you're telling me week after week for the last 2 years, that it's not good value for the money I'm paying, or she's paying. And he said, wow. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to keep you as a coach. He said, great. Monday at 10:30, that's our appointment time. He said, things are about to change. I said, I'm in. And I showed up in a suit. He'd never seen me in one before. He goes, wow, what happened? I said, well, I thought it's open a suit because I hope we have some positive change going on. So he says, all right, so here's what we're going to do. I want you to firstly look and act like a professional, okay? He said, you know what to say, you're a good job doing that kind of thing. You make around, 7 figures, year in, year out, 65, 75 million. He said, we're gonna work on that, okay? I said, great. He said, well, here's what you have to do. You're so random. You just wander around, business comes your way, blah, 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 kind of like Joe talked about. But he said, we have to be more specific, and we're going to time block. So starting on Tuesday morning, after our Monday session, we're going to talk about time blocking, and we're going to talk about creating conversation. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to create a conversation with everybody that you come in contact with every single day. Okay? And he said, make it purposeful. I said, great. Where do I start? He said, well, how about past clients' sphere of influence? I said, okay, we'll do that. So what am I going to say to them? I'm going to say, hi, Frank, it's Don. This is a business call. Do you have a minute for me? Say yes.
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 Great, thanks, Frank. And then you want to bring something of value to it. Say, inventory's down. Am I moving around too much?
You're fine.
Okay, it's making me dizzy. I just want to hey, great. Inventory's down 30%. Interest rates are relatively stable. Lots of buyers out there, lots of activity going on. Just curious to know if you know anyone that's thinking of selling a property in the next 30 to 60 days. Oh, you don't? Say no.
No.
Great, perfect. So, hey Frank, I was just wondering if you maybe somebody from your church, your service group, the Rotary, maybe your golfing buddies, anybody else you could think of. Say no.
No.
Great. So, Frank, would you at least pass my name along to your friends? I mean, obviously we had a good relationship. You're happy with the service we provide. Would you just pass my name along? Sure. Great. Thank you. And Frank, I got one last question for you. When do you plan on moving? Never. Say never.
Never.
That's great. And so, how'd you happen to pick this area? You picked it for me, you idiot. You know. But no, I mean, it was a job transfer. Great. If you were to move, where would you go next? Cave Creek. Frank, that's fantastic. And when would that be? Oh, we're thinking January. Well, geez, Frank, January. Did you want to get moved by January, or do you want to just get started selling them? Well, we want to get moved, right? Come on, script. Stephanie?
Yes.
You know your scripts? Pretty darn good, right? Okay. So, obviously, you realize it could take 30 to 90 days to get your home sold in this market. Did you know that? No, I thought everything was selling like immediately. Great. So all we need to do now is set an appointment. Would Monday or Tuesday at 4 be best with you so we can talk about getting your home on the market, getting it sold, getting you moved? Because won't that be a great feeling?
Yes.
Okay. And then, okay, so now we got an appointment. So now what do we do? Because people ask me, what about time blocking? What about scripts? What do you say? Okay, and I'm not very good at it. Like I saw some people in Las Vegas who were phenomenal at it. So you call them up and you confirm the appointment. What do you say? You want me to give you a script, or you want to be embarrassed, or what?
No, I don't want to be embarrassed, so you can go. I'll be the practice person. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Because little Michelle and little Christine and everybody, that's the script. Go ahead. Okay. What do you say?
All right, Don, before I come out, there are a number of questions I need to ask you, okay?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, if what I make sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list your home when I come out on Tuesday at 4?
Maybe.
Okay, great. Are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home?
Yes.
Okay, great. Tell me again, where are you moving?
We're moving to Cave Creek.
Cave Creek, wonderful. How soon do you have to be there?
We got to be there in January.
Okay, January. When I see you, how much do you want to list your home for?
$650.
Okay, as a professional real estate agent, I study homes and prices every day. Therefore, I assume you'll list with me and at a price that will cause your home to sell, correct?
Yeah, well, we don't want to give it away.
Okay. So what price won't you go below?
$600.
Okay. How much do you owe on the property?
Clear title.
Great. Have you ever thought about selling it yourself?
Not really. We're too busy.
Okay. Will you help finance the home for the
No,
buyer?
we want all the cash out.
Okay, cash out. Would you please describe the home for me?
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay. I'll be sending over a package of information. Will you take a few moments and review it?
Yes, I will.
Great. And do you have any questions before I arrive?
No.
So, our meeting should only take about 5 or 25 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
Last question. Will all the decision makers be present when I arrive? Why is that important? Anybody?
Get them inked.
Why is that important?
Waste of time.
Yes. Why is that important?
My wife.
Listing agreements like.
Right. Okay? Because if what I say makes sense to you and you feel comfortable that I can sell your home, are you prepared to go ahead and list your home with me when I come out Tuesday at 4? Say yes.
No, say yes.
Jeez, try this. Try this one.
You're late.
Oh, that's good.
All right, now say yes. 1, 2, 3.
Yes! Okay, great. So far this month, so far since I started about in the 1st of August, around the 1st of August, I start prospecting, and it has been absolutely,
Game changer.
1, 2, 3.
You're late.
So I started prospecting, and it has been absolutely painful. Because I'm ADD, okay, if you didn't notice, I am. And it's been painful. And how has it been painful, Christine? What's Don look like when he's trying to do things and not do what I'm supposed to be doing?
Then you have to wrangle him back in, like, all right, time.
I gotta go to the bathroom, I'll be right back, you know? You just went 3 minutes ago. Oh, I shouldn't have drank so much water. But anyway, so it's been absolutely flippin' painful. And so what's my goal every day? This sounds really week. What's my goal every morning? How many people do I want to call?
10.
10. I want to have a conversation with 10 people. Go ahead.
Are you calling your past clients?
Past clients first because they love you, for the most part. In your case, they do. In my case, maybe not so much.
They love Jenny.
Yeah, they do. For the most
Are you
part.
making a combination of the 10, or are you doing 10?
No, I just call 10 because they're friendlies.
I mean,
And then
yeah.
I'll call my sphere of influence. And then if I bump into somebody, I'll ask them too. So what has happened, my team is here, what has happened since I started calling 10 a day, and how many do I actually get a day? 3, 4, 5, 6. One day I got 14.
What time are you calling them?
8:30, right, after I've had 5 espressos. Right? Works
So
for
you
me,
can
I
keep
don't know.
running to the men's room.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I didn't know. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. But anyway, so what has happened? What has happened? We were down, normally I carry 30 listings, that kind of thing. And what has happened to our listing inventory in a very low listing environment? Would you all agree listings are hard to get, right? Okay. So this morning we got confirmation on number
15.
15 listings this month. 15. Okay? And we put this month, how many of those listings in escrow? 5?
Yeah.
5. 5 in escrow. Okay, so who did I see and how did I meet them? Well, I called some people I didn't know, right? And so on the listing appointments with the people I didn't know, it's kind of nerve-wracking. So I went out to see them, and there was what, 11 of them? Or
11.
10 of them? No, there was 12 of them. 2 of them I chose not to take the listing, because one, I couldn't help them. They owed way more money on the property than they could sell it for. And the other people, I told them not to move, because they could just make a couple minor changes, solve their problem, right? But the other 10, what happened with the other 10 people I'd never met before? First time, walk up to their door, what happened?
You secured the listing.
Right? Never met him before. Never seen him before. Never talked to him before. Except to prospect them. And they'd been on the market before, some of them. Some of them came from calling my sphere or past clients, say, hey, do you know anybody thinking of selling in the next 30 to 60 days? Yeah, I do. Right? Great. Who might that be? Bob and Nancy. Oh, great. Fantastic. Would you put in a good word for me? Yes, I will. By the way, do you have their contact information? Yes, I do. Great. Do you mind if I give them a call? No, I don't. Right? And believe you me, it's not that complicated. It's very hard. There's a big difference. And Jenny knows me well. Do I do everything I'm not supposed to do instead of everything I'm supposed to do?
Look for every excuse.
Huh?
Look for every possible thing you can do besides what you're supposed to be doing.
There's the truth. Okay? So you want the truth? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, the bottom line is that I've never taken, I had a bet. Anybody know Monique Walker?
Yes, I
Great.
do.
Yeah. She a good agent?
Yes. She's very
Did she
good.
make $1 million last year? Yes. First time. First time. Monique Walker is awesome. So Monique Walker texted me and she said, well, how'd you like that? Blah, 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 blah. Great. She said, well, my goal this month is to take 14 listings. I'm going to kick your ass. I said, great. Why don't we have a bet? She said, great. How about we bet lunch and a very, very expensive bottle of Cabernet at the Capitol Grill? I said, great. I'm going, oh, good. I'm just going to go for lunch and buy her expensive bottle of wine. So then I started prospecting. I go, you know, I hate to lose at anything kind of thing. I'm kind of highly motivated a little bit, wouldn't you say, sweet? Yeah. So anyways, I start prospecting away. And the first person to 14 wins. So I'm at 12. So I call the Capitol Grill. Say, hi, it's Don Matheson calling. I just want to make a reservation for 12:30 on August 31st. And I want to give you the contact information. They said, fine. What is it? I said, it's Monique Walker. This is her email address. This is her cell phone number. Please confirm the lunch. And oh, by the way, is the wine steward there by chance? I said, yes. My wine steward comes up and he says, I said, well, listen, I was kind of thinking, where's your wine list top out? Well, we got a bottle at $1,000. I go, I feel bad hitting her up for $1,000. So I go, and my coach said I should have. But I went moderate, $517 for this bottle of wine. So they have this bottle of wine on hold for us for lunch on Friday. I'm going to have to move it to next week because I'm a little bit busy. And so I text Monique and I say, well, sorry, girl, you lose. I made the reservation. The wine, I went easy on you. It's only $517. She goes, wow, that's a little excessive. I said, well, that might be for you because you're not winning. You lost. She said, you ever had a $500 bottle? I said, yes, I have, as a matter of fact. And my wife would say, that's wasteful, just like Monique would. But, you know, you don't drink one every night, right? Probably the last time I had a $500 bottle of wine was when we got married, right, sweet? We went all out.
Probably.
Probably. That was, how long ago now?
16 years ago.
16 years ago. Been together for 26 years now. Okay, so, so the point is that someone asked me the question is, what about time blocking? What about, what about scripts? Okay? Does anybody use a script in here? Who? Stick your hand up. Stick your hand up. Very good. Stick your hand up. Hey, stick your hand up. Who else?
Abby, you should
Very
be.
good.
Whether
You
scripts
have a
that you have.
script. Okay, has anybody used a script in their life, ever? Stick your hand up. Great, what was the script?
Me?
I don't care.
It was for sales, cold calling.
Good. What was your script? Sales. Great, fantastic. Okay, Linda.
I used it when I was meeting people.
Very good. There is a script for that too, and it works wonderful. But I just want to say about that is when you saw for all the guys in the audience, and I'm going to ask the girls the same thing. And I come from Calgary. You have cowboys and cowgirls, not cowmen and cowwomen. Please don't be offended, okay? So I told the feminists that. It didn't go very well. But anyway, so, but I did sell her house for her. But anyway, let me ask you, guys, when you went, Frank, you're married. I'm going to ask you because you're an easy target. But Frank, so you see this girl who's now your wife, right? And you think, wow, she's kind of cute, right? And so you're kind of thinking, what am I going to say, right? So you're practicing it in your mind, right? Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And usually what happens when that happens is first thing you say to her is, right? Does that happen?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that happened, okay. So, anyways, but the script improved from there. And it improved so well that Frank has a very happy life, right?
Correct.
Exactly. So, ladies, when you saw that guy and you went, that's the guy, right? That's the guy. I like that guy. Did you think in your mind, what are you going to say? And how are you going to react to what he says?
Yes.
Anybody been married for the second or third time in here? No, I'm just kidding. So, all I'm saying is that when I talked to the golf pro this morning, it's all about preparation. Do we not practice every day what we're going to say? How many practice partners do I have? I'm up to 4, right? Practice my scripts every day. Why would, after 43 years, I would want to practice my scripts? Right. But to be more effective. You want to be effective? You're your own company. The reason most people get in the real estate business is you don't have to do anything when you're in it, right? No one holds you accountable. Not RE/MAX agents, of course, because RE/MAX agents are above the crowd, right? Right. So all I'm saying is that you need to time block. That's the key. And you don't have, like one friend of mine, they decided they're going to time block. We were talking to our whole team yesterday, and they're going to time block 1 hour. 1 hour. And they said, well, how many people should I talk to in an hour? Both the past client's sphere of influence, and you ask them, hey, you got a minute for me, this is a business call. You're probably not going to get more than 4 an hour. Because guess what? After your business call's over, you're going to say, hey, how's the kids? What else is happening for you guys? Have you had a nice summer? Have you traveled? Where did you go? You went to Italy. Wow. What cities did you go to? How much fun did you have, right? Common ground. Just like Joe said, but just taking it up just a little bit of a notch, right? The other thing is I think that it was interesting on one of the listing appointments I went, and it was in Cave Creek, which is in escrow now. And it went in escrow how long after we listed it? 10 days, okay? $500,000. So I go to see the lady, she's interviewing 4 agents. One of the agents is the incumbent in the area that sold 90 homes in Tatum Ranch. So, you know, the mistake I made, you always make mistakes and you learn by them, was I wasn't the last agent in. I kind of preferred to be the last agent in. So she said, well, we got to talk to one more agent. I said, great, who's that? Told me, I said, oh, you're a good agent, right? And here's how we're different. So I want to explain what we're going to do that was different than them. Possibly. I was guessing. She phones me back the next day. She said, you know, when I showed up in a suit, tie, not used to wearing that. I usually look like a golfer, right? People, have you ever seen me in a suit and a tie? When was the first time?
Today.
All right.
No, the Christmas party, your Christmas tree.
Oh yeah, that was a ridiculous thing. I'm glad no one lit a match. It was made out of plastic. No. Anyway, it's still peeling off my skin. But anyway, so I said to her, she said, yeah, come on over, I want to sign a listing agreement. I said, great. Over there, I said, well, why did you pick me? And she says to me, well, it was really interesting. You asked the best questions on the phone, right? You showed up, you were 15 minutes early. And she said, I talked to my husband last night, and what we wanted at the end of the day is we wanted a professional sales person. That's why we picked you. And the same with the lady last night. She was not going to sign, all right? Because she was talking to other agents. And Monique Walker was one of them. It's great. It makes me feel really good now. Because number 14 was the lady that Monique Walker didn't get, okay? That was really great for me. But all I'm saying is, you got to be professional. Like, look like a professional, act like a professional, talk like a professional, know your scripts. What happened when you started knowing your scripts? Steph, what happened?
You get response. People listen to you. People will respond according to the script.
Right. And what happened to your income?
Increase.
A lot.
Right.
Not a little, but a lot, right?
Right.
Exactly. So if you're ready, if you're prepared, and if you know your scripts, what else happens?
Confidence goes up.
Right. And why does your confidence go up? Give me a couple reasons. There's lots of reasons. There's
Because you're prepared and you know what you're talking about, so you don't have to worry about what are they going to say, maybe get tripped up.
Right. So it makes you a better listener. And what do most people in the world want? They want to be heard. Because Sandy is up at the broker-owner thing, and he introduced himself to Adam Contos, and he says, yeah, I work, I'm a designated broker and partner at Remax Fine Properties in the office that Don Matheson works. And I had a 45-minute conversation with Adam Contos. He called me. This was before he went up there. And I just wanted to say, hey, here's some helpful things you might want to think about because of a number of reasons. And so Adam Contos says to Sandy, yeah, Don Matheson, he said, what does that guy really want? Sandy said, well, it's really simple. He wants to be heard. You, as individuals sitting in this room, not want to be heard. I know my wife does, and I have to work constantly on paying attention and listening to my wife. And I would say, well, let me ask her opinion. Do you think I'm getting a little better at that?
Yes, you are. Finally getting through.
26 years later, right? Poor thing. So you want to be heard. So your listening skills go up dramatically, just like Johnny said, if you know what to say. And I gave the team an example, right? They came in the office, I said, we're going to call this person, and we're going to follow the script. So I got halfway through the script, right? And what did that woman say to us?
She said, wow, you're a professional. You know what you're talking about.
and I want to list my property with you, right? Never seen her before. Couldn't pick her out of a one-person lineup, right? Kind of thing. So scripts, dressing appropriately, act, carry yourself appropriately. That's the other thing. When you're in your car, and anybody know who Tom Hopkins is? Wow, that's fantastic. So what I used to do, when I go to listing appointments many, many years ago, who remembers an 8-track tape?
Yeah.
Oh, great, okay. So Tom Hopkins had all these 8-track tapes. So when I'd roll up to a listing appointment, I'd stick it in there, have Tom talking and talking about being in a good mood. Smile, right? So in the car, I try to, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so who wants to say what I said about him?
Uh-oh.
Did I say good things about him?
No.
Did I go over what he told us last time he was here?
Yes.
Right? Common ground, be there, that kind of thing. But anyways, before you get to the listing appointment, what's really important? Well, you gotta dress like you're there to be a professional. Johnny, I know you dress well. I mean, you were dressing really well before I was even thinking about it a month ago. So, anyway, and then in the car, what you want to do is you want to always, again, review your CMA, right? And you want to practice that even before. Like usually I'll look at it before a couple of times. Then I'll look at it again in the car, the printed out copy. So I know what I'm kind of talking about. I'll anticipate the questions that they're going to ask me. And usually they ask you when you're qualifying for the listing appointment, they're going to ask you, what are they going to ask you?
Why should I choose you?
No, not yet. What are they going to ask you?
Brokerage fee.
Right. How much do you charge? So ask me that, Frank. I'm talking to you on the phone, and you ask me.
Don, what's your brokerage fee?
You know, Frank, that's the very first thing we're going to talk about when I see you Tuesday at 4. Will that work for you? Sure. Great. End of story, right? End of story. That's the very first thing we're going to talk about. How long is the listing contract for? You know, that's the very first thing we're going to talk about when I see you Tuesday at 4. You know, what are you going to do to get my home sold? You know what? That's the very first thing we're going to talk about when I see you Tuesday at 4. So let's try it all together. How much is the commission? That's the very first thing we're going to talk about when I see you Tuesday at 4. Right. No, shut up. You know I love you. Come on. She always gives me a good hug for the last 10 years. It's been great.
When you were in Joe's meeting last week, because I watched it on the video, thank you guys for having the thing because I wasn't here. Someone asked Joe a question about commissions, and you said you would cover it at your meeting. So here you are teaching, and the question was by the individual, do you ever cut, if I'm correct from this individual, I don't know if they're here or not, cut your commission? And you said you would bring it up at today's class.
Ask me. Ask me.
Well, so I'm throwing out the question that someone else had asked.
So go ahead. Ask me. Will you cut your commission?
Do you ever cut your commission? And if you
Well,
do,
no.
how
You're the potential client.
Oh.
So you're going to ask me.
Okay. So other agents tell me they'll give me a.
No. You got to ask me the first question. What's the first question?
Do you ever cut your?
No.
Was it you? Oh, it
Don.
was yours.
Will you cut your commission?
Will you cut your commission?
Okay.
That's the first question.
Okay.
No. Any other questions, Alex? Now the next question. Go ahead.
Other agents do, why don't you?
You know, I'll tell you what, Lynn. I'm going to share with you a commission cutting strategy that will get you 6% every time, but commissions are always negotiable. Let's talk about that.
Right.
But the other agents said they would, right?
Oh, yes, they did. They assured me they would.
Yeah, and they just came in and said they would do it for X, right?
Right.
Okay, great. And so you must have negotiated really, really hard with them to get them that price, right? No, I didn't. They offered it up.
Right, they offered
You
it
ever
up.
hear that? Oh yeah, they offered it up. I'll tell you, you know what concerns me about that? Really, this really concerns me. If an agent doesn't have the strength, courage to articulate the value they're going to bring to the process of getting your home sold, how strong are they going to be at the negotiating table defending you, the price we set on your home, and your net dollars in your pocket? Now, what's important to you, Linda? The net dollars you get or the commission you pay?
Oh, of course, the net dollars I get.
Great. So all we need to do now is simply sign the contract so I can help you get what you want in the time you want. Won't that be great?
Fabulous, thank you.
You're welcome. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to show you another commission thing. What time is it? 10:40. I'll show you another thing that is actually bulletproof, and I showed it to another agent in the office. He thought it was very clever. Sometimes I'm clever, not very often, but anyway, so anybody else got a question? Let me see what else. Staying motivated. Stay motivated. Okay. How do I stay motivated? How would you think I stay motivated? Anybody want to jump on that? How would you say, you can't answer that because you know.
Listening to the motivational 8-track.
That was very good, that's good.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Overhead, it makes you stay motivated. But it doesn't really, because I don't think about it. And my wife will say, you got to start thinking about that. All right? It's just like you're in business, right?
Competition.
Yeah, competition keeps me motivated, but I compete not with any one of you in this room. I compete against myself. And you know, so I'm in Vegas, sit down with 3 people that are from Florida Keys. Never met them before. For 3 days, we developed a little bit of a bond, which is kind of cool. Top producing, all of them making around $1 million a year selling homes in Florida Keys. And so we're sitting there and we're having dinner, the 4 of us on the Thursday night. It's over on Friday. So great. And then Tony Smith comes in. Who's Tony Smith? Tony Smith will be running Russia and Italy for Mike Ferry because Mike's getting older now and he doesn't want to travel so much. So anyway, Tony sits down and they're talking a little bit. And so Tony says, oh, hey Don, tell me a little bit about yourself. I said, sure, what do you want to know? He said, well, what kind of business do you do? I said, well, I do 65, 75 million a year. You're in, you're out, you're in, you're out. He said, oh my God, that's fantastic. I said, yeah, I guess so. I don't think about it really. He said, so how much prospecting do you do? How much conversation, they call it now starting a conversation. How many conversations do you start a day? I said, none. He said, what do you mean none? What happens? How do you get your business? I said, it just kind of comes in the door, randomly. He said, oh my God, really? He said, so how long have you been doing this for? I said, 22 years. He said, oh my God. He said, if you started calling your past clients, you could make $4 million a year. I had to think about that for a second. It kind of caught me off guard, and I thought, oh, wow, I don't think my fixed costs will go up that much. Right? So how much are they going to go up? I already got them, right? Michelle's heard this before. No, Michelle, you have to go to.
Home inspection summary.
There we go. Thank you. So, anyways, your costs don't go up that much. And then the other thing you think about as you get older, okay, as you get older, is your runway becomes shorter. Anybody know what that means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
Time's running out.
Right. And a very wealthy guy said to me, Harry Wall, said to me a long time ago, and he's been up and down and up and down and up and down. He keeps getting married and giving all his money to his ex-wife because he just does that and just leaves. And he said to me one day, he said, you know what? He said, he was 68 or 65. He said, you know what? I'd give up half, if not all my wealth, if I could get an extra 10 years. Right? So time blocking, time. You know, there's a song, Time, by the Rolling Stones, remember? Right? You gotta remember that one. So, anyways, all I'm saying to you is you have a choice with your time. Kelly, you have a choice with your time. And hey, listen, and it's okay to spend an hour a day working if that's what you want to spend with your time. And it's okay to spend the other 8 hours with your family or recreating or doing whatever you do, right? Or mentoring young people. helping somewhere else, being charitable, whatever the case might be. That's okay. But it's a conscious choice. And that choice is up to you. You have that choice. Would you not agree with that? No? Right. And so then you run into this great thing you think about, and I know a lot, and I'm going to come back to you, okay? I know a lot of older people. Does anybody know anybody 80, 85, 90?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you think about, oh, God, I mean, might be 85, 90 myself, right? And you look at their lives, and the ones that have taken advantage of the time they had, generally speaking, their life is better at 85 or 90. Would you agree? Right? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. So all I'm saying is that don't waste your time. Now, when I was earlier on in my career, I ran my life on the break-even plan. Okay? And how did that work? How do you think the break-even plan worked? Because I was making lots of money. How'd it work?
Not well.
Spend it.
It worked great. Are you kidding me? I was in Hawaii for 6 weeks, drinking, you know. At the beach. I don't do that anymore. At all. But I was on the break-even plan, you know, making 200, 300 a year. Then I meet Jenny. So I meet Jenny, and this is, God, you know, this right, right? And she worked at the bank where I had my accounts. So, anyways, finally she agrees to go out with me and everything like that, and everything progresses, and now we're together at my townhouse in Vancouver, down by the beach there. Jenny goes, you know, I was thinking you make a lot of money. I go, yeah, I do. And you have a lot of fun. Yeah, I do. And you can have a table at any restaurant in town. You walk in, they take care of you. I said, I do, because I spend a lot of money. She said, you know what? I think would be a really good idea. She was, how old are you, 21? Are you 21?
22.
22. And I'm 43 or whatever, 44. She says, you know, I think you should be on a budget. And you know, I'm like gaga, and still gaga over this woman. She impresses me every single day. And thank God for her, otherwise I'd be under a bridge somewhere, whatever, homeless, sunglasses.
You'd be breaking even, let's face it.
Smoking
Still
pot.
breaking. But anyway, she said, okay, you got to be on a budget. I go, oh, great. Okay, I'm in. So she comes back to the bank and she gives me $200. Is it $200, right?
I can't remember.
It's 200 bucks. She gives me
Early
two.
90s, okay?
She gives me 200 bucks, and I go, fantastic budget. I like this budget. So the next day I'm at home or I'm running around working, and I come back and I says to her, you know, I had something to eat. And I said, well, have you got the 200? She says, well, what do you mean the 200? I said, well, the 200, my budget money for the day. She said, no, that was for the week. I said, so you expect me to go from $1,000 a day to $200 a week? Are you crazy? All of a sudden I'm thinking, okay, she's still cute. So anyways, so having a little bit of discipline in everything you do, it really makes a big difference in your whole life. That's all I can say. And I think I have a much better handle now as of 1st of September in discipline in what I do than I did a month ago. Would you not agree?
I
Right?
agree. Yep.
And we all have a little bit of discipline. And thank God I have the support team I have. Thank God for Jen, Ann, and thank God for Christine, and thank God for Michelle, and the support team. Because it's the best one I've ever had. So who has it? And the other agents on the team. Stephanie, awesome. Very motivating. She puts her meat in the seat and she gets after it, okay? She got a baby now, but she's still prospecting, right? Right, Steph? And it's going good. She comes in the office the other day, oh my God, I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on? She said, I came back here because I want to start prospecting again. I want to get in the grind. I go, fantastic, here's your desk. All right? So, alls I'm saying, get control of your time, know what you're gonna say, know how you're gonna say it, improves your listing, and you'll be absolutely shocked at the results you'll get. And if you wanna make $100,000 a year, that's great. If you make it 60, you'll make 100 a lot easier if you just stick to some sort of schedule, whether it's a half an hour or an hour a day, calling people and creating a conversation. Any other questions? Did I cover everything?
So when you're time blocking, do you just time block that one part of your day, or do you try to time block the majority of your day?
No, because I'm very random. My wife's very linear, and Jenny will tell you I'm very random. Right, sweet?
Yeah.
I gotta wander around. I mean, it's just kind of how it works for me. And so generally I'll go to appointments in the afternoon, right? Yeah.
Time blocks the morning and then the afternoon is just whatever comes up.
Yeah, Costco, Whole
Because
Foods,
that's the
you
hard
know.
part in our industry, is that.
What's that?
That's the hard part in our industry, is if you try to time, for me, I mean, there's emergencies that come up, or this or that, you got is a phone call that comes in.
What's an emergency?
Well, I'm in the mortgage business, so.
No, I didn't.
Emergency.
I don't care what you're in. What's the emergency? Tell me.
Well, we run somebody's credit, their credit score went from a 650 to a 602, and we're ready to close the loan, and now we have to fix the credit real quick. Now that's
Do
just.
you work
goes
in a
right
company?
into- Yeah, it's
You
the
work-
mortgage.
Yeah, do you work by yourself?
Well, I have a team.
Wow. You have a team? So what do you get the team to do? Solve problems, right? And bring it to the nexus point. Like, at the end of the day, you have to solve your own problem, but wouldn't you say that you want to bring the problem to the point of impact, right? The point of impact, so that you have and can spend less time solving that problem. Why should you, and hey, guess what? It happens to me. I get involved in negotiating a deal and yada, 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 and Michelle and Christine and Jen N are, why do I call you Jen N?
Because I have two N's in Jen.
Jen N. So, anyway. But, you know, you don't want to be caught up in the whole minutia, and you don't want to be caught up in the association of the problem. You want to be you'll become a better problem solver, and I'll give you an example of this, if you're disassociated from it. So, an example. Who has been to a live play before? Stick up your hands. Everybody, wow, okay. So, when you're in the audience and the actors are on stage, which is harder? Is it easier to watch the play, or is it harder to be one of the actors in the play? Anybody gone to acting school? Yeah. What? It's harder to be an actor in a company, right, in a play where there's a few people moving around, than it is to be in the audience. Would everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so what do they call that? They call the audience is disassociated, okay? And the audience is disassociated. Me standing here, I'm associated. I had to practice and think about what I was going to say to you, right? So it's a lot harder for me to make this, can I say shit? No, I won't say that, okay? I was thinking it, but I won't say it. But,
The information.
It's a lot harder for them to be associated, because they're worried about what their fellow actors and actresses are going to say, and you're just sitting there enjoying yourself, right? So don't let yourself get associated to the problem. Become associated when it reaches the nexus point, because it's going to be easy to solve it at that point. Because they're going to come to you and say, hey, listen, the credit dropped to 605. Here's some suggestions of what we're going to do to fix it, right? Do I tell you guys to fix it? And then what happens? You pretty much can fix it, right? And sometimes you can't fix it, right, Jenny?
And then we let you know after your time block.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
So I have a question on that.
No, we have a lady in the back.
Oh.
Go to the children first.
This goes back to time blocking. How do you manage your work-life balance, do you actually time block time for your personal life? How does a successful guy like you still have a life?
Sweet. How does a successful person like her have a balanced life? How do you have a balanced life? Go ahead.
You time block it.
And what do you do every morning? We just start work at 10:30 or 11, right?
Yeah, I start work at 11, I play tennis most mornings.
Yeah. Time block.
And I'll, if I'm in the middle of a transaction or whatever, I'll check, obviously check my email before I go out the door. Sometimes I have to go out the door if I have a match, like in Peoria or Anthem or whatever. I have to leave at 7:30 in the morning, but I wake up early and I'm on my computer, making sure there's not like something I can't deal with before I leave for the day. And then once I go, I don't even look at my phone until I'm done, because I could get very distracted with the drama of something going on, so I literally do not look at my phone until my match is over or my practice is over or whatever. And you just do it.
Right. So how do I do it?
And you have to do it because if you don't do it, then you're just never gonna have a life.
Never gonna have a life. And I play golf usually every Saturday and Sunday morning.
So,
Unless
but
I'm-
the caveat to that is, or the explanation too of how that is even accomplishable is, it's kind of hard to do it if you're the only person running your business or like working in your business. John's question earlier about what's your best or ROI. Our best ROI is our employees. There's like no question in my mind. If you have a good staff working for you, it's your best return on investment. And anybody who can make that leap to hire an assistant it's really something to think about, because it'll just change your life. And suddenly if you've got them, trained properly and they, can handle, like John was saying, keep him, concentrating on his time blocking, he can be so much more productive with his time.
Bonnie Burke, what did I tell you years ago?
Hire an assistant.
What happened? You were running around, and her hair didn't look as calm as it did now. What happened? What happened when you did that?
I mean, my business just exploded.
Took off.
Yeah.
And you were a lot more calm, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You had an opportunity to time block and have a life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So you either have to find a quality person to work with you and help you, or you have to be on a team, or you have to try to figure it out, or you have to restrict your income, one or the other. Because the people that I see that are making gargantuan numbers, and I just got back from the retreat, and there's a lot of people making over $2 million a year, and there was people making over $3 million. And they had, not that many, and we have a friend in Canada, #4 Remax agent in the world, #4 team. 3 people, 2 assistants. 3 people, 2 assistants, #4 in the world. Well, how much were they making? Probably $5 million a year, that team. A lot of money. So hopefully I answered some of your questions. Do you have any other questions for me?
Where's the greatest percentage of your business coming from?
The greatest, well, go ahead.
Past clients and referrals from past clients or Sphere.
And so guess what?
That's what you focus on.
Yeah. Right, and if you get a little bit bored of that, you take a run at, for sale by owner, you take a run at, like I do take runs at for sale by owners, I take runs at expired listings too. Not nearly as many as other people on the team will. Who else has a question? Go ahead.
If you don't have many like past clients or referrals because you haven't been in it very long, where would you focus your time then to get more leads?
What would I do? Well, what I would do you go to church?
Yeah.
You know anybody there?
Uh-huh.
God. Okay. Thank you very much. So, okay, church, all right, so you write down all the people you know, right? You probably know 10, right? Okay, well, maybe 5 in your case. No, I'm just,
I don't go that often. But
Huh?
I don't go often enough to know many people there.
well, then you better go and you better be one of the ushers and the greeter, right? That's a good way to meet people, right?
Yeah.
Better than standing at Walmart. I mean, I guess God's at Walmart, but church is a better opportunity to, feel good about yourself, listen to some positive stuff, right? And meet some people who want to be there too. I went to confession about maybe 2 weeks ago, and was raised in an Irish Catholic family, and I thought, wow, I've been in confession for about 40 years. And so I went to confession, and I went, priest opens the thing, look at him, and they go, oh my God, you better go first. Anyway, so that was the last time. But anyway, all I got to say is Dick Hyland left me with this really interesting thought. He said, better than always beats as good as it is. Be better always. All right? Be better yourself every single day. Does that mean call one more person? And my coach last Monday said to me, you had 14 and you left the office? Why? Why? Why not one more? Why not one more conversation? Right? Can you start one more conversation today? That would be my challenge to you. Can you start one more? And we have Arnaud. So Arnaud, you know, he would kind of scrape around the office a little bit. Remember when you started? You weren't that happy, right?
I was busy.
Yeah. So what did I tell you? How are you calling anybody? And what did you say? No. And why weren't you? Because they couldn't understand me, right? They didn't understand me because I have a big accent. What did I tell you? And this really, it hurt your feelings, didn't it?
Right.
What did I tell you?
Take classes.
Yeah, I said, Stephanie, you're calling people and you're getting nowhere. And who came in the office to see you? Who did I bring in the office to see you?
Mike Ferry.
Mike Ferry came to our office, right? But I spent the whole day with him. It was kind of fun. Kind of different than how he is. But so Mike Ferry told me when I saw Stephanie prospecting, like you were prospecting probably 5, 6, 7 hours a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And probably not getting anywhere, right?
Right.
And so Mike Ferry said, what did you say? Don, you should tell her to get accent reduction. Get accent reduction classes. And so 3 months later, after she got over being mad at me, the Asian tigress was really mad, okay? Like she was wanting to claw me to death. But anyway, so what happened? You went and got a lady, and she'd been a former news anchor, right?
Yes.
An older lady.
Right.
So I told you to call me on the way home when you finished your first class. And what did you tell me on the way home?
My mouth so sore.
My face hurts.
My face hurts.
Why did your face hurt?
Because I never speak some words and
Use those muscles that were
use
before.
those muscles.
Okay? So anybody can get better. And here you have a young lady. You don't know her, but at 19 she came here from China, correct?
Right.
Right. She gets from China. Knows no English, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no, you know, that's it. She enrolls at ASU at the business school. Okay? 4 years later, yeah, she gets embarrassed when telling the story, but 4 years later, she graduates with her degree in business and learns English at the same time. Is that a highly motivated individual? Yeah. Did she want to do one more? Yeah. Right? So that's why she's doing so well. Okay, one last question and then I'll shut up. Okay, I'm sorry.
Right.
Go ahead, anybody.
No, it's not really a question. I was going back to disassociation. You're disassociating yourself when there's an emergency, kind of back what Tiffany was saying. And the question I have for you is, because I know as realtors, we always want to be in control. We're control freaks by nature. So my question to you is, giving Tiffany advice to say disassociate yourself when you have an emergency. If you're the broker who's handling the transaction, are you okay with Tiffany disassociating herself with that emergency? Or if she's handling the transaction as a lead, would you rather have her handling that? And I ask that because what happens when we have, you know, especially when I have an issue, when I was running a bigger team in Colorado, it seemed like everybody would go when there was an emergency, even if I wasn't handling the problem, I was the one stepping up. I mean, if I wasn't handling the transaction, I was the one stepping up to handle the problem. you see that on your team? Or are you okay just saying, I'm disassociating myself with this emergency and I'm letting somebody else on the team handle
Okay,
it?
answer that.
Yeah, we handle it to the point where, we can't, if there's no solution, then it goes to Don, but that's very rare. We try to fix it internally before it has to even go to him.
We're all pretty smart people. Go
My
ahead.
question is more for newer agents that are just getting started. How long would you say till you figured it out, so you felt like you had a solid pipeline? Because it is hard for agents in the beginning to get everything going and feel like, living paycheck to paycheck, and
Yeah, it's hard.
setting aside a marketing budget.
Yeah, yeah.
How long do you think that took for you before you felt like you had it kind of figured out?
43 years. No, but I'm just saying that, it's kind of like I had lunch with the CEO of Arizona Regional MLS. I go to lunch with him once a year just to find out what's going on. And so we're having lunch at Risconi's and two of us. And I said, so what's new, what's happening? A lot of realtors joining the business, blah, 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 right? And he said, yeah, but they leave at month 8. They're gone. They paid for the full year, and they're gone at month 8. And I said, why do you think that is? Well, there's not much training in the business. He said, I'm just a geek, okay? I don't sell real estate. I don't know anything about selling it. I know what we do to give you a service so you can sell your homes and operate around and CMAs and all that kind of stuff. But the training is poor. So I would, and it is interesting. 2 of my role play partners, one's in Toronto and one's in, I don't know, I've got 3. The woman, I'm getting a 4th, and the woman is the best ever. She's from Park City. She is absolutely bringing out the best in me. But those 2 new agents, they joined coaching right off the bat, right on the get-go. And for them, $650 a month was a lot of money, right? A lot of money. And I sat beside a young lady when I was in Las Vegas recently, and she was in coaching. She was in year 4. She was knocking back 70 transactions a year, no assistant, making just under 400 grand a year. Now, everybody makes different money because of different price points in different markets, right? And so I had lunch with her this last time, and the problem with her was that in her city, was it was very small, and she was probably the highest income person in that area. And they asked her, well, what about your friends? Well, all 4 of them are working at Starbucks, living in a rental house. So I had lunch with her. I said, hey, how's it going? I know she got a diamond ring on. This girl's really put together, beautiful. Comes from a very dirt poor family. And she said, yeah, she said, I thought about where I was living, and I thought I can't grow. She had a ripping business. I moved to Dallas. I thought, moved to Dallas? That's awesome. She said, yeah, and then I met a guy, and get engaged. I said, how's business? She said, well, I started working really hard in January. I have 17 listings. I got 15 in escrow, closing. She's 26 years old. Right? What's she doing? She doesn't know anybody. She's calling around company listings, company solds. She's calling expireds, cancels, everybody. And she just reads the script. So I just read it. I said, great, do you practice? Yeah, I practice it. I get warmed up in the morning before I start for 20 minutes. I say it over and over and over again. Get going. All right? So I think a new person would be well advised to go into coaching, get some sales training, and that will enable them to hang into the game longer term. And it takes probably, I would say it takes 3 years. Now, if they're prospecting all the time, it'll be shorter. If they're kind of just waiting for stuff to come their way, it's going to be longer.
So yeah, I have a question. We all at our company had hired a coach in January.
Who'd you hire?
Southwest Consulting.
Okay, great. Good for you.
And we are at, month 8, right?
Yep.
And I what was it with you? When was that turning point where you were like, I am all into this, like 100%, like what really made you, because obviously I had a script that I just took out this morning that she sent me for this, you know, the class, and all these different things, right? But what really motivated you to go, I'm doing this today, I'm gonna start, there's like, you know, because I feel like the excuses and the interruptions and the this and that constantly gets in the way of things.
Life.
Right, so like, what just made you go, okay, I'm doing this, I'm gonna try this?
So Don, before you answer that, let me just dovetail that question, because I was gonna ask the same thing with a little different twist.
Yep.
When you're standing up there talking, I almost feel like you're a carbon copy of who I am. My wife would probably agree. I mean, I walk around in a golf attire, and I bump into business, and everybody's just mind blown, like, where in the hell do you even get business, and how does it happen? 'Cause
Right.
we're
I
so much
understand that.
structured. And I paid for a coach, and I have a coach, and I just told the coach the other day, it's like, you know what, you guys just send me a bill for the rest of my coaching. I don't even want to.
Who's the coaching company?
Tom Ferry.
Yeah.
Same. And so I was just like, you know what, send me a bill. I'm not doing it. So kind of on the same dovetail question, like when does that switch happen where you're out of your
I
shorts,
mean,
you're into
you're
a
someone
suit?
so successful to go, I'm gonna try reading the script now.
Yeah.
Like, what, you know, because it's like, what's been working has been working because I'm successful, but why am I gonna try this now, and how is it gonna work? Because I feel like it's so, not intimidating.
Okay, let me answer it because Greg wants to wrap it up here, but let me answer that. So, okay. So you have a coach, you're not listening to him, right?
I think that's what we're all kind of saying.
Is that-
You give so much information, but to
Okay,
take each-
and so what was the turning point for me?
Yeah.
That was the question.
Yeah.
Part about the coach. Are you paying attention to your coach?
Me?
Yeah.
Sometimes. I have the same problem as him. I feel the same way with Tom Ferry. I do.
Right, and so you and I have known each other for how long? Maybe 20 years, right? So this guy is a very highly motivated guy. He's a very personable guy. He dresses well. He knows what to say. He's reasonably well motivated. He gets off track a little bit now and then, like we all do, right? Am I wrong about you?
100% correct.
Okay, great. So here's the deal about coaches, okay? I was in Brian Buffini coaching. I was in Mike Ferry in 1993, okay? And then I went over to Brian Buffini. I went to script training with Tom Ferry and Matt about 4 times years ago. But I can honestly say if the coach isn't pushing you, if the coach isn't giving you what you want, get another one. Right? Right. Because, you know, if you're not getting out of it, if they're not pushing you and shoving you out of your comfort zone, then that's not a good thing. Because you don't believe them, you don't believe the process that they're outlining for you, and you don't believe what they're trying to teach you. And I would say to you that sometimes coaching is really popular right now, right? Okay. So the problem is that with the coaching companies, just like everything else, there's way more people who want coaches than there are coaches to coach. Is that a fair statement?
How about good coaches?
Right. And so what are they doing? They're just adding average people that aren't doing any business, that are thinking of all these harebrained, wild-ass ideas that you should be doing this and you should be buying this product from. The biggest downfall with Tom is he sells products. He wants to sell you on this, 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 and this. The reason I like Mike, and I've gone back to Mike in the last few years, is he doesn't sell me anything. He just says, be in coaching, pay attention to what your coach says. Change prospecting to start a conversation now because people didn't like the prospect. So he just said, we're going to start a conversation. And that's it. So if you're not getting out of it, you got to tell the coach, Coach, I think we're going to fire you. And they're going to say, why? And you're going to say, this is why. Unless you improve being a coach, you're gone. Because what would Tiger Woods say? What would Tiger Woods say?
You're fired.
You're fired. What would Tiger Woods say to the caddy? That's kind of an on-the-course coach. You're fired. What did Lexi Thompson say to her coach? Phoned her dad from Japan. Hey, Dad, because she stayed at our house. Hey, Dad, can't deal with this caddy anymore. Caddy, gone. right? So if you're not getting, it's a two-way street, okay? If you're not willing to learn and change and move out of your comfort zone,
Right.
that coach can't do that
Right.
and can't make you take a step forward, wrong coach. Get somebody else.
So you were so motivated.
Don't
by
waste your money.
coach, Is what you're saying. He motivated you that much to get you to do that. To
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
you know, so one last little nugget. When the lady said you look the most professional, because I'd gone down to, you know, Dell gives me a hard time, and some of the guys around the office, and I said, well, I went to Neiman Marcus, bought a sports coat, a couple shirts, a couple ties, and it was $3,000, right? And Dell goes, geez, well, look at this, Mark's Work Warehouse, you know, it's like fantastic. I go, oh, well, sorry, I'm a brand guy. Matheson team, that's my brand. Remax, that's my brand. Best brands. I'm gonna go to Neiman Marcus. So then, I go to get this listing, lady says, you're the most professional person. That's why we're hiring you. So you know what I did that afternoon? Went back to Neiman Marcus and I bought this suit. How do you like it? So then I get the suit. I go to the office. I said, hey, Jen, I bought a blue suit. She goes, what do you say?
You need the brown shoes and the brown belt to go with it.
Wore it just for you guys. Okay? So, anyways, people are shocked when they see me at the time. But when I sold real estate in Vancouver, I wore Xenias, I wore every kind of the most expensive suits ever. And why? Because it makes you feel better. And if you feel better, you walk in the door, and you got to be excited when you walk in the door. I am going to get your house sold. That's it. That's what I tell myself before I go in the truck. I'm sure that people are looking at me, who's this nut? Right? And I chant that. I'm going to get that house sold. I'm going to get that listing. I'm the best. And this is why. I know why I'm the best. Because my team's the best. I practice. I'm ready. And if they don't accept me, it's their loss. That's it. That's it. And that's what I believe. And I believe in meeting the people that are here today, and there's a lot of other, and Joe made this point last time, there's a lot of people in our office, okay? And there was a few people that came today, a few people came to see Joe. But you guys, I guarantee you, are going to be very successful because you're going to push yourself a little bit. You want to learn a little bit. You want to watch other agents. And I watch other agents that are really successful. I watch Frank. You ever met Frank Azami? Sold a $17.5 million house. What's he look like all the time? I go, shit, I look like a golfer and expensive golf stuff. And Frank shows up in a suit, driving a Bentley, sold a $17.5 million house. Picks up a cool 600. I go, shit, maybe I need to wear one too. Right? So get a coach, listen to them. If they don't push you, fire them. That's it. End of story. And that's the last thing I'm going to tell you today, unless Christine, you want the last word?
Can I add something on that?
Yeah.
So once Don actually talked to his coach, you could actually see the mentality switch in his office. So before that, yes, he was coming in, he was always working, but the mentality actually switched to where he was actually going after it compared to before. I mean, he would always have it come in. But I think he took a stand where he said, I'm going to fire you unless you step up. And once that coach actually stepped up, that's when he kind of switched and really started going after it. And it's noticeable in the office, and I don't know if you knew that, but we could see it on our side.
Right.
So if your coach isn't doing it for you, fire them, and if they don't say anything after that point, like, oh yeah, wait, we'll do this. If they don't do that, get somebody else right away, because they're not going to push you.
Anything else? I hope you enjoyed yourself today. I know I did.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you for being on time. All right. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're
Late.